Signalborn. Chapter 6. The Man on the Screen. Riley Mercer had officially added a new item to her rapidly growing list of things she hated. Things Riley hated. Meatloaf. Surprise math quizzes. Monsters with too many teeth. Reality falling apart. People standing behind her when they absolutely should not exist. Especially number 5. Because the figure on the monitor waved. Slowly. Casually. Like someone greeting an old friend. Riley's entire body locked up. Nova didn't move either. For several seconds, neither of them said anything. The machine room felt frozen around them. Monitor light spilled across the floor in soft blue reflections while dust drifted through the air. Cabinets lined the walls, packed with strange signal objects that glowed faintly in the darkness. On the screen, the hooded figure lowered its hand. Still smiling, Riley looked behind her again. Nothing. Empty room. No figure. No movement. No breathing. She looked back. Still there. Still smiling. Still standing directly behind them. Nope, Riley said immediately. Nova nodded once. Correct. Riley blinked. Oh, that's it. Nova kept staring. That's all I have. The figure tilted its head. Riley hated that. There was something deeply wrong about the way it moved. Not physically wrong like the fractures, not twisted or broken. Worse. Controlled. Perfectly controlled. The movements looked natural until Riley watched too long. Then tiny details started falling apart. A head tilt that went a little too far. A smile that held a little too long. Hands hanging perfectly still. Like someone had studied people instead of actually being one. Riley swallowed. Nova. Yeah. Why is it smiling? Nova didn't answer. Nova. Still nothing. Nova. Nova looked over slowly. Because it knows you can see it. Silence. Absolute silence. Riley stared. I deeply hate that answer. The monitor crackled. Static rippled across the image. The figure twitched. Not moved. Twitched. Its body flickered for a fraction of a second. And Riley suddenly saw something underneath. Not a person. Lines. White lines. Thousands of thin white threads, moving beneath the shape like glowing veins. Then the image stabilized. The figure smiled wider. Riley took a step backward. Nope. The speakers overhead crackled softly. Then a voice spoke. Not the calm female system voice. Different voice. Male. Warm. Friendly. Riley Mercer. Riley froze. Absolutely not. The voice continued. It's nice to finally meet you. Nova spun toward the speakers. No. The voice laughed quietly. Riley stared at Nova. She looked terrified again. Riley was beginning to dislike Nova being terrified. Because Nova apparently had terrifying standards. Nova, Riley whispered, who is that? Nova didn't answer. The voice did. You can call me Elias. Silence. Then, I've been looking for you. Riley stared upward. Why does everyone keep saying things like that? The monitor image flickered. The hooded figure lifted a hand and pressed it against the inside of the screen. The glass rippled. Actually rippled. Like water. Riley blinked. No. The hand pushed farther. The glass bent outward. No. The fingers emerged through the monitor. Riley stared. The room stared. Reality stared. No. Nova moved instantly. Blue light exploded beneath her skin. Symbols raced across her arms and wrapped around her hands. She grabbed Riley and shoved her backward. DOWN. The monitor exploded. Glass and white light blasted across the room. Riley hit the floor hard. A shockwave rolled through the machine room. Cabinets burst open. Strange devices scattered across the concrete. Some activated immediately. Thin holographic symbols spun through the air. Black cubes unfolded tiny mechanical legs and ran beneath equipment. One pair of strange glasses floated several inches above the ground. Riley stared. The crime objects escaped. Nova ignored her. Again. Riley was filing a complaint eventually. Smoke drifted upward where the monitor had been. Slowly, very slowly, a hand reached through. Human-looking. Almost. Long fingers curled around the edge of the destroyed screen. Then an arm followed. Then a shoulder. Then the hooded figure stepped through the broken monitor, as if walking through a doorway. Silence filled the room. Riley stared. Nova stared. The figure looked around. Then smiled. "Oh," it said pleasantly, "that worked much better than expected." Riley blinked. "And what?" The figure looked at her. Not through the hood. Through the darkness beneath the hood. Riley could feel it. Could feel eyes that she couldn't see. "I'm impressed," Elias said. Nova moved in front of Riley. Immediately. "You aren't supposed to be here." Elias tilted his head. "Nova." His voice sounded amused. "I wondered when I'd find you again." Nova's expression hardened. "You shouldn't have access." "I shouldn't have many things." The smile widened slightly. "But life is full of surprises." Riley slowly looked between them. Then pointed. "No." Neither looked at her. Riley pointed harder. "No." Still nothing. "Nova." Nova looked annoyed. "What?" "You know him." Nova didn't answer. Riley narrowed her eyes. "Do you know him?" Silence. "And Nova." Nova closed her eyes briefly. "Oh, yes." Riley stared. Then looked toward Elias. Then back toward Nova. Then back again. "Do you know Creepy Monitor Man?" "He has a name." Riley looked offended. "I reject that information." Elias laughed. Actually laughed. The sound echoed strangely through the room. Not because it sounded evil. Because it sounded normal. Too normal. Everything about him felt wrong because nothing about him felt wrong. Riley hated it. Elias looked toward her again. "You know," he said softly, "you're much different than I expected." Riley crossed her arms. "I get that a lot." Elias smiled. "No." His head tilted slightly. "I mean your signal." Silence. The room suddenly felt colder. Nova took another step forward. "Don't." Elias ignored her. White lines appeared beneath his skin. Tiny glowing threads moving under his hands and neck. Riley stared. Because they looked familiar. Very familiar. Like the white threads she'd seen around herself. Elias looked down at his own hand. Then back toward Riley. Interesting." Nova's voice hardened. "Elias." Elias looked up. For the first time. The smile disappeared. "Do you know," he said quietly, "how long I've waited to find another one?" Riley felt her stomach drop. Another one. Silence filled the room. Then her phone vibrated. Very slowly, Riley looked down. The screen displayed one line. White signal resonance detected. Below it. Secondary user identified. Then. Elias. Riley stared. Then looked up. Elias smiled again. "Hello, Riley."